We are back, and we brought a guest. Well, is he really a guest? He's like the house guest that, when you got the spare room, you're like, oh, that's Len's room.
I still have the key, Joe. I still have the key. I've never turned it in.
Well, we know that Mom likes you better than us anyway. So, let's be realistic. Mr. Penzo, how you been?
I'm doing pretty well, but, get retired. I've just been feeling old and...
Oh boy.
And I can't help it. Unfortunately for me, last week I was walking by the cemetery and two guys attacked me with shovels. So I know I'm really, really getting old.
Oh my God. He's
maybe
back.
too old.
He's back.
Doug's shaking his head. Yeah, that was not good, Doug.
It's fine. It's not going in the Len Hall of Fame, but it's okay.
Everybody can't hear the dagger stares that OG and Doug are giving to Len right now. Like, really? It's a Monday.
I'm used to OG giving them to me, but when Doug's shaking his head, I really am. I know that was a disaster.
Better.
I think that means you're winning, Len. That means you're winning.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
Well, not only do we have Len with us, of course, we have this tradition, if you're new here, that we start off every Monday with. So everybody raise your mugs because we're going to salute those men and women who kept us safe during the off week and this last wonderful weekend that we all had. So big thanks to the troops. Here's to you. Thank you for all that you do on behalf of the men and women stacking Benjamins around the world and the men and women in Mom's Basement, cranking out podcasts that we can all learn from. Thanks for all you do. Let's all go stack them together now, shall we?
Thanks, everybody.
Here's the song that we'd like to do for all the younger set of people, the teenagers and what have you. This one's called Vacation's Over. Vacation's over. It's over. It's over.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and did you miss us last week? Of course you did. We missed you too, and to prove it, we're pulling out all the stops. A new study shows that Americans are more worried than ever that they haven't put enough away for retirement. How do we fix that? We've got lots of solutions. And to celebrate another 8 weeks of Money Basics, we welcome back Anna, Alum, and OG with season 2 of their hit segment, which we still haven't named yet. I feel like we're setting up for a big cliffhanger at the end of the season, Joe. We'll also share some more ideas from our stacker community. And I know what you're thinking. What about the trivia, Doug? Gotta have trivia. I got you, stacker. And I'm right here, ready to help you amaze all your friends with another money-themed trivia question. And who knows, if I'm feeling generous, might even give you the answer. And now, 3 guys who are the answer to the trivia question, what do you get when you put 3 money nerds in a room who love talking about money? Here come Joe, OG, and Len Penzo.
Hey there, stackers. Happy Monday. So happy to be back with you. We had a great week. We're rested. We're ready, but we still brought in reinforcements anyway because, as you heard in the introduction, Mr. Penzo's here. How have you been, fine sir? You are on mute. That's how you've been. He goes away for just a couple weeks, and he's
like, I forget. You get older, you forget all these things. Yes, okay. The button is off. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm just fine. Just fine. Old, but just fine.
Do we got the dog snoring behind us today so we get a little extra?
Not yet. He's in the bedroom, but he may make an appearance before this is all over.
Perfect.
Because I know these things always run on time, right? You'll always run on, so I'm sure, he'll be there.
We always give Len a time that we're going to record, and we generally start about 20 minutes later. Mom makes us vacuum the floor, dust everything, because we're having company. Yes. And a guy who is best with a feather duster, Mr. OG, is here.
My favorite is when I wear that, sexy maid outfit.
It's
with the feather
exactly what
duster.
I was thinking. It's
I know it
exactly what
was.
I was.
Yeah.
Can it be our favorite too? I think it can be all of our favorites. Did you have a good week off? A good greatest hits week, OG?
I did. Yeah, it was fantastic. Wife's birthday and Cinco de Mayo at the same time.
I know.
Who doesn't like mayo? That's what I say. Like, put that on everything. We're a Duke's family. Hellman's is garbage.
Wow, hot take here already, Len. It's early in the show. We already got
He's
the hot
already
take.
revealing where you live. You must live east of the Rockies. There's no such thing as Hellman's out here on the West Coast.
There isn't, really?
It's Best Foods.
But it's the same stuff, just called Best
Hellman's
Foods.
is garbage.
Same company.
We use Duke's.
Same company.
So,
Well, they're both garbage anyways. Okay. I'm not a big mayo fan. You know what's funny is I hate mayo unless it's in tuna salad. I'll eat it in tuna salad.
That's two hot takes already. No mayo for me. Well, the food discussion's not going to cost you any extra, but the big discussion, which I think you want to hang out for, Stackers, we're going to talk about some new data that I read about in investment news. This is not good. This is definitely not good. A lot of people with a lot of retirement fears. So Len has been retired for a little while now, so he's going to help us work through some of this data, also talk about some of these pain points and how we get by them. But first, we got a couple sponsors who help us keep on keeping on. We have one sponsor spot now and one in the middle of Doug's trivia later on in the show, so you can think about it. And then we're ad-free besides that. But maybe our biggest sponsor, of course, is that we finally have a product that helps you get rid of those 7 different apps in your wallet, and you just have one. It helps you protect your privacy, getting your name off of all those lists, protect your credit, run credit what ifs, look at your budget, track your net worth, and more. Dump the 7-app approach and go to one with the Vault. StackingBenjamins.com/vault gets you there. All right, we have just a couple more. And then Len, OG, Doug, and I, we're going to dive into some troubling retirement numbers and see how we can stack the deck for you to make your best retirement ever. I had a breakfast mentoring meeting yesterday with a young woman who was just amazing. She is graduating from college with a degree in wealth management, and she reached out hoping for some pointers. And listen, if somebody's in Texarkana and wants to go into this beautiful field of personal finance and helping people get their money together, that is incredible. But even more incredible is how she reached out, how she was trying to network. And I was having a discussion that finding the right person and avoiding the wrong person for a role, that's what can make or break an organization. And we just don't see that many qualified people. So how do you find them? Well, Indeed sponsored jobs is a boost whenever you need to find quality talent. If you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. You can stop struggling to get your job post even seen on other sites. You'll match with quality candidates with Indeed's sponsored jobs. Get matched with and hire quality candidates who can drive the results you need. Reach candidates who meet your specific criteria like skills, certifications, or location. It drives me crazy when I'm matched with all kinds of people who aren't a fit. I don't have that kind of time. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed are 95% more likely to report a hire than non-sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all the boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored job. And here's what's cool, Stackers. You're going to get $75 in sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support Stacking Benjamins by saying you heard about Indeed right here at Stacking Benjamins. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamins headlines.
Our headline today comes to us from Investment News. And for people that don't know what that is, because this is an industry rag, it truly is not the type of thing usually that financial advisors don't read, but this is for advisors, pension fund managers, money managers, et cetera. And always interesting things when you look at what advisors are worried about. And I think this is something we should all be worried about. Steve Randall writes that Americans are increasingly uneasy about their financial future, with concerns about depleting retirement savings reaching unprecedented levels. A study just came out from the Alliance Center for the Future of Retirement and found that 67% of Americans now worry more about running out of money, wait for it, than dying. They worry more about running out of money
Well,
than
yeah.
dying, which explains why estate planning meetings, Len, now they start with, so how long do I have to live?
When you die, the pain is over. When you're out of money, it's nothing but pain.
Right. But OG, I've never thought of like a retirement plan where dying early is the way to get on track with a Monte Carlo simulation, right? Oh no, your retirement's on track because I got you pegged to die fairly quickly.
As long as you're out of here by 74, your retirement is amazing.
Fear of outliving savings, now the number one concern, especially Gen X, 73%. This is the high watermark of everyone. Gen X, Len, worried more about running out of money than baby boomers and then millennials. Does that surprise you?
You know, it does a little bit. And the baby boomers, they're older, so I can see why they may not be worried about running out of money before. They're a little closer to the finish line, so to speak. But yeah, I am a little surprised. I don't know if I want to get ahead of you, but there's a good reason why I think a lot of people, and it mentions it in the article, why the people are more worried, especially the Gen Xers.
Yeah, and we definitely need to talk about that. But I guess what you're saying is baby boomers may have been more worried before, but you're saying they're either across that hurdle. Like baby boomers, like, hey, either I got enough or I don't. And at this point, I'm fine with whatever. I'm not going to do much to change it.
Yeah, the two things when you retire, it's hard to fathom when you're younger, but as you get older, the two things really working for you in retirement and you're extending your money is, well, one, you're closer to the end of your life, your natural life, but two, you tend to spend less as you get older too. And both of those kind of work, they help you out. Things might look not as bleak as when you're younger and you're looking at your amount that you have. But as you get older, there are those internal things there actually help you out from keeping you from running out of money.
Yeah, I mean, and part of it makes me think also that millennials, are still far enough away from it that they're in the accumulation phase, and their fear is coming because, oh, gee, I think that, for a lot of Gen Xers now, it isn't so much about saving money. We're on this track. I've already either built that system or I haven't. For some people, they're late starters. Maybe they're trying to build that system. But with these rising costs and uncertainty, I think that trying to turn your nest egg and the complexity, maybe, I don't know, of turning your paycheck into a nest egg you can't outlive. Is that what you think is driving Gen X's worry?
It's interesting that this is the outcome of this study because I don't know that that's really a thing that we hear a lot of in terms of like the primary thing. Maybe that really is, and we're just not doing a great job of asking that. Maybe that's the subtext of everything, but maybe it's more of just a culmination of just a lot of different things and how they affect the overall, vision of retirement or financial independence time. Whether it's, here we go, here's another chaotic market moment, or fears of inflation, or here's another war that's causing price instability in different areas of the economy. And then on top of it, you've got the constant drumbeat of, oh, don't worry about this. AI is going to take everybody's job anyway in another year. So
plenty of other stuff to
worry about. You don't have to worry about anything, which obviously isn't true. But I don't know if this is just a byproduct of media being media. And I mean, I don't know how you could be worried about like stock market. It's at an all-time high.
Well, they're studying individual people. So you're right. Maybe it is all the media around, man, stock market's all-time high. We got all this geopolitical stuff going on. Look at inflation. Who knows what's coming around the corner? Yeah. The other shoe's going to drop. How many years in a row have we heard the other shoe's going to drop, right?
Well, eventually. Yeah, eventually it'll go. Eventually it's going to crash. We are right on the precipice. I think maybe that's just kind of a big, broad brushstroke of, am I going to be okay? And maybe that is the finer point of running out of money, is maybe said that way.
Well, on that piece about running out of money, Len, do you think there's also something to be said for the fact that Gen X is truly the first generation where pensions really weren't a thing for the vast majority of them? Like with baby boomers, I would say a lot more baby boomers had pensions than Gen X people. Could that also be fueling this higher number?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. I mean, it does help to have a pension, right? I mean, I'm lucky. I actually have a pension myself. I mean, who wouldn't love to have that extra security of that pension? I mean, you layer that with your Social Security, your pension. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Those kind of worries can be taken care of when you're young. If you plan for that stuff ahead of time, That's the thing. You if you plan properly, you shouldn't be having those kinds of worries. You really shouldn't.
Yeah, I want to walk through those, Len, in a second. But I also think another issue, OG, might be the fact, and you've talked about this before, your goal is to live to be 140.
140. Yep.
I mean, longer retirement. This is a second career, but hopefully one that you can sustain without worrying about income.
I mean, there's two ways to look at it. One way is to look at it and say, oh my gosh, lifespan is increasing, so therefore I have to save so much more money. Or you can look at it, I mean, I guess maybe it's somewhat of my take. If health span and lifespan is increasing, then my productivity years is a little bit longer as well, especially since, I'm in a fortunate position in that, I can kind of design my day-to-day activities. I know that that's not true for everybody, but I get to spend a lot of time doing the stuff that I care most about. So why would I stop doing this just because I hit some senior age like Len?
What helps the OGs when you're working for yourself.
No, 100%. Yeah, I recognize that.
That's so much easier than somebody like me who was stuck in the corporate world. I mean, I don't know.
Let's not call it easier, different.
Poor choice of words. I'm sorry. You're right. It's not.
But you have the flexibility, I think is what you're saying, Len.
Yeah, the flexibility helps. And I believe real strongly in how we've tried to design, the people that we work with on our team and stuff as well is, if you spend a bunch of time just doing the things that you're uniquely good at, your energy stays high, you avoid the things that are frustrating. And I recognize, Len, for the vast majority of people, you can't go to your boss and go, I just really don't like doing TPS reports. I'm not going to do those anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he's going to go, okay, we're going to need you come in on Sunday and fix this.
Yeah. And going back to that pension thing, I mean, back then, the working for the man in the corporate world, the pension kind of made it, that was a kind of offsetting.
That was the trade-off.
Thing. Yeah. That was your trade-off. It's like, hey, you get you're working for the man, but hey, you have that little extra security blanket. Well, you don't have that security blanket now. So like I always tell most people, if you can work for yourself, work for yourself.
That trade-off, Len, is so strong that I remember around the turn of the century, it was 2000, another uncle had died. I'm standing next to this other uncle of mine who I hadn't seen very often. So we're kind of having a little bit of small talk, and he's talking to me a little bit about being a financial planner at the time. And I'm talking to him about his work. He was starting to think about retirement at that point. I said, man, the stock market, because it's early 2000. So the stock market's been on a tear for a couple of years, right? With internet 1.0, as pets.com is going crazy and all these internet stocks going crazy. And I said, man, your 401k must be doing good. Must be doing really good. And he said, what's that?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's the thing that you can save into at the place that he works. That's the thing you could save into for retirement. And you know what he said, Len, to this pension point? He goes, oh, you know what? We got the pension, so I never really did that. I just thought, you can do that as extra. But his employer, he was 100% sure was going to take care of him. So why save more?
And I can kind of see that back, when I started, my pension was really good. If you could stick with the company for 35 years, I mean, you'd probably be very comfortable. But around 2000, around that time frame, that's when companies start saying, we're out. We're getting out. We got the 401ks all set up for you. They would do these grandfathering in. If you were hired before this date, you got the pension. If you're hired after this date, sorry, nothing for you. It's 401k, you're on your own. And that was a big thing. And that really did change the calculus for your retirement. That put all the onus on you. That put all the that made your responsibility for your own retirement, and you couldn't lean on your own companies like that to take care of you in old age.
Well, let's talk about some of those basics, because you said, if you start early on not having a pension, most of the people I think probably listening to this do not have a pension, or even if they do, they want to consider that to be supplemental income. By the way, speaking of supplemental income, before we get to this, and Doug, I'd like you to weigh in on this too. How do each of you feel about Social Security? Because another piece of this study was people are really worried about Social Security being solvent. OG, Social Security, you count it, you not count it?
Yeah. Look, the reality with Social Security is there's never been, to my knowledge, a government program that has stopped existing. The downside is that everybody keeps kicking the can down the road. And I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but I think it's like 2034, 2033 time period. If they don't amend anything, then benefits will be reduced by a little bit. We also know that some simple fixes to Social Security, like just changing retirement age for people under the age of 40, moving that retirement age to 70 instead of optionally at 62, while some people might look at that and go, that's BS, it totally solves the problem mathematically. So it will require some pretty heavy lifting from Congress and from, all the stakeholders to be able to do that. All that to say, I have no problem counting it. I think if you're doing a stress test on your financial plan, I think it'd probably be a good idea to take half a number or something and just see, well, where is that breaking point in our plan if we only get half the money, if we don't get any of the money, just to kind of feel it out. But I think it's pretty fair to assume that there'll be some benefits moving forward.
Len, did you plan on Social Security?
I didn't, but that being said, I'm with OG. It's a political third rail that they will not let Social Security go. They will do what they have to do to keep it coming. I remember I saw some old political comics from the mid 70s where it was like, I remember one, there was a elderly man, he's looking at or not elderly, maybe in his 50s, about ready to retire. And he was looking at a newspaper headline and said, Social Security will be gone by 1980. And his daughter was looking at the paper and said, oh, look, Dad, just in time for your retirement, it's going to be gone. This was back in the 70s.
Fear.
This same fear. This is not like something that just came up in the last 10 years or something. This has been going on since the start of Social Security, and they've fixed it every time, and they're not going to not fix it. So I don't think you're making a mistake if you plan for Social Security being there as part of your retirements. But I think for planning purposes, you might want to err on the side of caution and do like OG said, say, hey, maybe you only get half of what you expect, or maybe, a quarter of it.
Doug, you were nodding.
Well, I don't have a lot additive to what Len and OG said. In fact, Len even stole the phrase I was going to use, which is political third rail.
Damn it, Len.
Sorry.
So congrats, Len.
Thank you, Dad.
That's how you know you're having a good day. You're taking words out of my mouth.
I started slow, but there we go. I'm picking it up.
But I will say, in terms of stress testing, and I think OG alluded to this, you could factor it in later, because there are several countries around the world who have started to delay the age at which you can take retirement or any form of benefit that they have in their country. And it is very conceivable that that could happen. It'll be a lot slower here, but you could just see, if you're stress testing your plans, what happens if I don't get that? I want to retire at 62, but I don't get to take my pen or get my Social Security until I'm 70 or 73.
You've seen the U.S. move that way over the years with the sliding scale over time. Len, you were talking about a lot of this stuff is solvable when you're younger, and you said there's some things that you can do. I mean, you've got this discipline that you talk about, this crazy thing, discipline. I mean, what's that all about, Len?
Yeah, what is that?
And anti-debt mindset. Like, how do we make sure that we don't have to worry about all this stuff if we take care of, if we got a stacker in their 20s or 30s, what are the things they should be doing now so they don't have to worry like these Gen Xers are today?
Well, take advantage of everything you can, especially the low-hanging fruit. Like if you're working for an employer and he's offering you a 401k, the match, you got to do that. You got to just take the match, take the low-hanging fruit. You've got to start saving. You can't wait, and you've got to plan. Set a goal for where you want to be when you want to retire, when you think you want to retire, and figure out how much you're going to need and what it's going to take to carry you with no income, assuming you're truly going to retire and not make another penny.
You say stuff like that, Len, but hold on. Do people overcomplicate it? When you say this, people are thinking spreadsheets, or thinking these, how complicated do you need to get in your 20s and 30s?
Well, in your 20s, I think it doesn't have to be that complicated at all. Just start saving and take advantage, like I said, that low-hanging fruit. Just get in the habit, practice saving, practice taking money from your income and putting it aside for the future. And that can be done very easily. We've talked about this many times. You all talk about it. It's when you get a raise, don't take that whole raise and use it for, oh, hey, I get to spend it. Set that raise aside ahead of time. Prepare yourself and say, if I get a 3 or 4 or 5% raise, I'm going to take 3 or 4% of that, 80% of that raise, and I'm going to set it aside for my retirement into my 401k contributions. You'll never miss it. And it's painless that way. And then before you know it, by the time you're in your early 30s, you're on the road to building whatever that number is. So yes, when you're in your 20s, don't let it overwhelm you. Just start saving. You can work the details in your 30s. You have plenty of time, or even in your 40s, but you got to start saving, because if you don't start saving till your 40s or in your 50s, it is incredibly hard to catch up. So take advantage of time. When you're young, youth is on your side. Time is on your side.
A lot of people not saving early on, OG, because they're in debt and they feel like they got to take care of that first. What do you tell those people?
Yeah, I mean, this is slow pain or fast pain, one of the two. Let's say you graduate college, or maybe you're just a little bit out of school and you're working for the first time, and maybe your lifestyle, you live in a big city, and there's not a lot of margin of safety in terms of your cash flow. You can take the easy road and just say, well, I'll deal with this student loan debt. I'll deal with the fact I got a brand new car and I got to deal with that, or I got credit cards, and trying to save a little bit of money. I'll deal with that later. Or you can tear the Band-Aid off early. And in every instance that I've ever seen, when you look back over a period of time of discomfort money-wise, it's always faster than you expected it to be if you took care of business when you were supposed to take care of business. Versus, like Len was saying, if you say, well, I'll deal with this when I'm 40 or I'm 45, people look back and go, I can't believe I let this go for so long. I've even said publicly on the podcast, when Roth IRAs came out in 1997, I started my planning business in 1999. So like we were literally still talking to people who had never heard of what Roth IRAs were, right? Like that was the spiel, so to speak. But the limit in 1999 was $2,000 a year, $166.67 a month. And I still to this day go, how in the heck did I not have $25 to put in a Roth, or 50 or 100? Because in the moment it felt like I just don't have it. Like I got these other priorities, but the reality is that the pain of not doing it for 25 years is way worse than the pain of just sucking it up for the first, 3 or 5 and living a little more cautiously. So to answer your question specifically around like debt, you absolutely have to take advantage of free money. So if you've got a 401k and you've got retirement plan benefits through work, you need to take advantage of the free money. That's 100%, return on your investment. And then every other dollar needs to get rid of high interest debt. And this is the struggle, because at 25 you go, but I'm not making any progress. It's like just a little bit. Like all you got to do is set the systems in place and ride it out until you get to that margin of safety.
It's funny because, as I hear both of you talk, Len, I think about how much of this is psychological, right? About how much it's taking the 20 minutes. You talk about discipline, but what I hear you really saying is systems. Get automation working on your behalf, put money in the 401k, set this stuff up early. And when it comes to debt, on one hand, we all know debt sucks, but on the other hand, psychologically, it's kind of normalized today. Like everybody's got debt, right? I mean, I remember being at this ridiculously huge mall in Houston. Oh, gee, what's that mall called in Houston? The Galleria. This thing is obscene. It's so huge. And I turn a corner and there's this big banner for a firm, right? Where you can just get into debt in all these easy payments, 0%. And pretty much, Len, the subtitle on this quote layaway plan, but you get the stuff right now. And as long as you make the payments on time, there's 0 interest, which they know you're not going to make the payments on time. Basically, the subtitle list was, dude, everybody's doing it. I mean, those weren't the exact words, but I just feel like debt is so normalized that you're like, okay, so I got a little credit card debt, big deal.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, but I think you're old enough to remember, as is I. In the 70s and in the 60s, debt was taboo. Even buying anything on a credit card was taboo. That's when layaway, I remember my mom buying things on layaway. Now, this is layaway is true. It's not credit. It's
deferred gratification.
It's exactly right. It's deferred gratification. You buy something at the store, and these are coming back, by the way. Layaway stores are bringing layaways back. What you do is you buy something at the store holds it for you, and you make payments until you can afford it, until you've paid it off. As soon as you made that last payment, you get what you've been looking for. And that's how it used to be. And then somewhere in the late 70s or early 80s, that all changed and credit became totally accepted. And I think that has been to the detriment of everybody.
This is how taboo, Len, debt was. And I know that you'll remember this, but there was, imagine today if there was an episode of a television show where the whole theme of the episode is they're having this gigantic party because they paid off the rest of their debt. Len, do you remember the episode of the Waltons where they paid off their debt? And they have like this big bonfire and everybody's excited about the fact that the debt's paid. Like, I can't imagine Hollywood's, hey, here's what we're going to do.
No, I never watched the Waltons, to be quite honest with you.
Doug, do you remember that show? You remember that episode?
Well, it was a little too pure and wholesome for me, but I'm aware that I was watching Kojak and Welcome Back, Cotter. And, some of the little spicier, All in the Family. They did a mortgage burning party. On
All in the Family did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing. People used to have a whole party and throw the mortgage in the fire.
That's a little different though, right? I mean, there is some things that, it was always kind of acceptable to go into debt. And a home was, getting a home loan, that was never really the part of the taboo.
Sure.
But the revolving credit stuff, that was a no-no. People look down on you if you bought something, if you used credit cards like that. And that all changed. I don't know when. It'd be funny, Joe, to figure out exactly when that changed. But somewhere in the late 70s or early 80s, it was brilliant however they managed to flip the switch there. Because it is now. Nobody thinks twice of using a credit card and buying something on credit and paying 29% interest for 5 years. And you end up that $250 purse you got on credit ended up costing you $1,000 after
People
you're done
factoring it in.
All the interest.
Or not factoring it in, just mentally.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to pay extra for that. It would be interesting if credit cards had to put the total cost that this thing has cost you, this pair of jeans has cost you. If they were able to take the pair of jeans or the dinner out and you would see it as paid off over time, and until you pay off that dinner out, it would continue to escalate at 29%.
I think that's a fantastic. You need to lobby your congressman there, Joe. That's a great idea, actually.
Would that be cool?
That would scare a lot of people.
That would be a cool credit card for responsible people. Talking about,
it certainly would.
It could be the Len Penzo credit card. I need to TM that before Len takes it from me. Let's get back then to people are older, because I think for younger people, Len outlined a lot of the things that you can do, but I feel like there also is this feeling for Gen X that you're moving into a time where you feel like you might have less control. You've got this longevity risk. We're going to talk more about that on Wednesday. You've got markets which are always uncertain, but now you're starting to think about, how do I turn it into an income stream? I'm not really sure how I'm going to put all this together. Like, I can see all that uncertainty starting to play out in Gen X's mind or anybody's mind when they get to that point.
I think it's just a mental shift of what is realistic and what's expected and not expected. I think just looking at it from an investment standpoint, it seems to me that people make large investment mistakes when expectations don't match what's actually happening. And basically kind of two ends of the spectrum here. It's like, I don't understand how come my account's going down 20%. That seems silly. I'm going to make a change. Sitting here today, I think most people can understand, like, that's the worst time to make a change to your investment philosophy is when you've gone down 20%. But the other side of that spectrum is also the other thing. I don't understand how come my friends are going up 30% and I'm not. I need to make a change, right? And so a lot of it has to do with your understanding, or at least acceptance of what's expected in this outcome that I'm working toward. What does Doug say here? What's this word? Umbrage? I don't know what it means, but it just sounds like it sounds like the perfect place to use it.
He doesn't even know what it means.
No, it is. You've done well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Grasshopper. That's exactly the right place.
I take umbrage. I'm going to say it again with effect, with the idea that, the markets are volatile and that should be concerning to me. I just don't buy that stuff. And so when people say that to me, like, it's like you're speaking a different language. It just does not check with reality. And P.S., that's what you're supposed to get. And I think once you recognize that the stuff that you think is an issue is actually the benefit of the thing that you're doing, then all the other stuff becomes a lot easier to wrap your head around. The reason that you get 10% a year in the S&P, or 11.5% if you just look in the last 50 years, by the way, which I think increasingly more people are doing, then you go, okay, well, the reason I get this return is because every so often it goes down 25%. That's not a wrong thing. That's the benefit. That's what's supposed to happen, or when you look at the JP Morgan research, which comes out every single month, by the way. So it's a great tool to just find market data. They don't really provide any commentary there. It's just data. It's called JP Morgan Guide to the Markets. You can just Google it. It'll pop up. I'm sure Kevin will dump it in show notes or something for us. But it tells us statistically the peak to trough number in any one calendar year is minus 14. What that means is, market does this thing, but there's going to be a period of time in any year when the market's down a little bit. And down a little bit, on average, is minus 14. So if you're listening to the news or you're looking at your portfolio and you get your statement and you go, oh my gosh, I'm down 8% this month. You're not even to normal yet. Once you recognize that minus 14 is the normal number, then you can start going, okay, now we're in some sort of one standard deviation away from like normal. Until it gets to minus 14, it shouldn't even like register. And so once you accept these kind of facts of the case, then I think the stress that people have in their 40s and early 50s around like, how do I save enough money? There's not enough time. I'm behind. That kind of starts going away. That doesn't mean you don't have to make changes. Like Len was saying, hey, this is easy if you do it when you're 20. It's way harder. And it's not twice as hard. It's like 5 times harder, or maybe 10 times harder if you start when you're 50, but it's still doable. I think the education piece and acceptance of how this process works helps assuage any.
Wow. Nice.
Holy cow, dude. You are on
I'm just holding the 3
today.
from back here. It was like a half court shot. Any concerns that you have in reaching retirement goals?
I get really excited about this because, we're all going to have fears. And OG, what you just said about solving the fear problem, and you're fearing things that are going to happen whether you fear them or not. So better planning and looking at bigger pieces of data and planning on this thing you see as a problem being the solution, I think is very powerful. And Len, your take about discipline, but I think even more important about setting up automation systems, early on and then staying out of debt, I think is huge. What I want to do later in the show, I'd like to revisit this. We got a couple things we're going to do first, but you guys both know the financial industry, there's a part of it that loves this fear and might be making it worse. And we're going to talk about how we think about fighting that fear versus the way maybe some of these commercials are talking about you. Like Affirm, hey, everybody's doing it. Go ahead and get the thing now, pay later, which is just an absolutely horrible idea. But before we get to that, coming up next, we've got OG and Anna. If you're brand new here, they did a complete series that now, by the way, is a YouTube video series on our YouTube channel at Stacking Benjamins. OG and Anna helping you walk through the basics. We have season 2 starting today, right after Doug's trivia. Doug, you got a really tough one today, I know.
Yeah, put on your thinking caps, stackers. Hey there, I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and it was on today's date back in 1659 that the fun police got busy in Massachusetts and outlawed the celebrating of Christmas. Joe's mom did something similar back in 2009, if I remember correctly. I think she outlawed the celebration of Christmas and Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, all of them pretty much, unless you walked through the front door with gin and tonic.
True story.
Something about making everything merry and bright. Anyway, one holiday that the Puritans could not outlaw that year, because luckily it didn't exist yet, was Festivus. May 11th is also the birthday of the late actor who played George Costanza's dad on a hit TV show during the 90s, where his character became obsessed with the airing of grievances and wrestling, creating a new modern holiday, as opposed to the old modern kind. Here's today's question. What show, which made the network and all involved fat stacks of Benjamins, did Jerry Stiller appear on, where he came up with the Festivus for the rest of us? I'll be back right after I help Joe's mom set up the tree for Christmas in July. She says you can never be too early.
As you hear this, I just got back from keynoting the Millionaire Money Mentors Conference in Florida. I'm sure I had a great time, even though I haven't gone yet as I record this. But I know wherever any Stacking Benjamins people are, it's always a party, isn't it? But what makes it even better party is the fact that when you see pictures of me, those clothes came from Quince. I've been getting intentional lately about what I wear day to day and on stage, and leaning in more into pieces that feel easy, that are comfortable, that I can travel with and still look put together. It just makes getting dressed simpler, whether I'm at home or on the road. Quince has been my go-to. The fabrics feel elevated. The fits are clean. Everything just works without needing to overthink it. Quince has all the wardrobe staples for spring. Think 100% European linen shorts and shirts from $34. Lightweight, breathable, and comfortable, but still look put together. And clean 100% Pima cotton tees with a softness that has to be felt. Their pants also hit that same balance, relaxed and comfortable, but still polished enough to wear pretty much anywhere. Everything's priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find at similar brands. Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen, so you're getting premium materials without the markup. Between the pants that feel so incredibly comfortable, and my favorite is still that first cashmere sweater that I got. It is so nice. It's great to feel good because you know that your wardrobe looks good, and it didn't cost anywhere near what I thought clothing that looks like that would cost. It should be the same for you. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/SB. And because you're a stacker, you'll get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/SB for free shipping, 365-day returns. Quince.com/SB.
Hey there, stackers. I'm grievance haver and guy with plenty of problems with all of you people. Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. Okay, first, I love all of you, but it was Jerry Stiller's character on a hit TV show who uttered those words, "I got a lot of problem with all of you people," or something like that. Here's the question.
That's pretty good.
On what show did
good.
today's birthday boy, Jerry Stiller, as George Costanza's dad, create the Festivus for the rest of us? It was, of course, Facts of Life. I'm kidding. It was Seinfeld. Can you see Tootie airing grievances and doing feats of strength?
But by the way,
hilarious
somebody
would
with the
that have
name Tootie airing grievances sounds like you just tooted.
Oh, I got to make these harder. There's no way you missed that one. And if you did, go back and watch those episodes on Festivus because they absolutely hold up.
So good.
And now, kicking off season 2 of Financial Basics, it's CFP's OG and Anna Alum.
Anna, we are back for season 2. Season 1 in the books, season 2 ready to go. If you don't have your guidebook from season 1 or season 2, if you don't have the guidebook yet for season 2, it's because you didn't get the guidebook for season 1 because we sent it out to everybody who wanted season 1, so you got season 2. But anyways, if you don't have it, you can go to stackingbenjamins.com/basics guide, just one word. We decided to put a lot of consonants in there and make it hard to pronounce and spell. But, you know, the internet people disagree with the format there. But basics guide, stackingbenjamins.com/basics guide, and name and email. You'll get season 1 and now season 2. That'll come to you automatically and you can kind of follow along. The thing with all of this stuff that we're talking about here in season 2 kind of builds on the stuff that we did in season 1. If you haven't gone through season 1 yet and you haven't done all the exercises, that's okay. You'll probably get a little less out of it because you kind of need some of these numbers.
They're building blocks.
Yeah. But if you don't have it, it's fine. You can just kind of muddle through it a little bit. And then if you have the time, you can go back to season 1. You can find all those little segments. We're putting them on YouTube on the Stacking Benjamins page. So you don't have to go back through the entire show, or you can go back through the shows and find them there. So there's lots of places. So today, Anna, we are going to talk about retirement income planning.
My favorite topic in the world.
This is the...
That's not sarcasm either. I actually love this.
Oh, okay. I was like, it's like, wow, there's so much energy in that little snippet there. You know, a lot of times people focus on the number. They focus on their balances. They think about how much money I have. And then it's like, oh, crap. Now
Yeah.
I got to turn this into a paycheck.
I get asked all the time, is $1 million enough for retirement? It's like, I don't know. There's a whole calculation that goes into that. There's a lot of follow-up questions. It's not just a simple dollar number.
Well, we're going to try to make it as simple as we can. We've got 6 or 7 minutes to go through it. And honestly, you're right. This is going to scratch the surface. This is, we were talking before, this could easily be an entire series of episodes. We could hijack the whole Stacking Benjamins episode for the next month probably, and still just get to little bits and pieces of this. So our goal today is just kind of work through some of the highlights and give you some stuff to work on and think about. So let's kind of start with building your retirement income piece by piece. How do we think about the layers of your retirement income plan?
There's 3 layers that we break it down into. The first one being Social Security, which or paying into, but you probably forget that that's there. And that's a piece of your retirement income and a very important piece. It's important to go to ssa.gov and download those documents if you haven't already got them. I just got one in my email today, this morning, with an updated number. So you'll get the updates also. And it's going to break it down between the different ages of when you could take the Social Security. So that's number one.
Here's another quick thing too, before you get to the other ones, was with registering on the SSA website, if you haven't done that yet, it does two things. Number one, you get the report, and so you can stay up to date on that. The second thing it does is it gives you a reason to check to make sure your income is being reported correctly, because Social Security is based on how much money you make and how much taxes you pay. So it's kind of a built-in fail-safe of they'll send you this document and you can look at it and go, yeah, that looks about right in terms of my income for the last couple of years. It's also kind of a fun history lesson of going back to like, oh, remember, that was when I worked at the ice cream shop and I made like $1,300. That was so fun.
I love seeing that. Like, oh, there's the country club snack stand. So fun.
Country club snack stand. All right. How about layers 2 and 3?
So then we're going to look at any sort of annuity or pension income that you get. So not everyone gets this.
Not as popular.
Not as popular. But if you do, it's super important. Something that you should know, you can typically download documents. Like if you're a teacher, you can go into the pension platform and download the documents. Again, similar to the SSA, where you're getting the total lump sum and then as well as the annuity payments that you would get at 65 or whatever age.
This is a great use, by the way, of AI tools. You know, you get that big document that says, here's how we calculate your pension. Here's how da-da-da-da. It's like this big generic document. Dump that PDF into chat and say, hey, ask me the questions that I need to answer so that you can calculate what my pension might look like at different ages.
Love that.
And let it kind of work through that with you kind of on the fly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then the last piece, after you've looked at Social Security, looked at any sort of annuities or pensions that you have, the last piece would then be your investment withdrawals. So you're looking at your total investment portfolio, and that is now what we're calculating from. What withdrawals are we going to need from this portfolio? So that's where the rest of the work comes in.
Once you know what your guarantees are going to be, and then you go back to season 1 where we talked about your spending and your lifestyle expenses. If you remember, we talked about those different buckets, and that lifestyle number is the number we want to replace in retirement. You can subtract out those guaranteed income pieces, Social Security, pension, annuities, whatever, and then you're left over with, well, this is the gap that I need to solve for my portfolio.
Exactly. So that's the number that we need to solve for today.
Yeah. So let's just give you an idea of how to think through this from a math standpoint. So let's just say, just hypothetically, that your retirement spending is $8,000 a month. So that's your retirement income or retirement spend, lifestyle expense number is $8,000. You know that Social Security is going to cover $2,500. So you need $5,500 a month left over. That's $66,000. The first thing that we want to do, and these are all rules of thumb, and I know we're going to talk about this in a second, but how much money do you need to have in a bucket to be able to take out $66,000? Well, the first thing that you do is just kind of divide that by 4%, or you multiply by 25, roughly the same calculation there, and you get to about $1.6 million, $1.65 million. So that's a good starting point of that's how much I need to pull out $66,000. But that's only if you are retiring today. If you're 45 or you're 40 or you're 55 and you're going to retire in 10 or 20 or 30 years, you have to add inflation to that lump sum need to get to what that big number is going to be, because $66,000 today is not $66,000 in the future. So on your calculator, or you can just put this into Google and ask it to calculate it for you, add 3% inflation for the next X years. So that's basically how many years is it till I retire. So if I got 20 years to retire, the calculator version is 1.03 raised to the 20 years. Then that number is multiplied by that 66,000 to get you your retirement income need in 20 years from now with inflation. So that's kind of the quick down and dirty. And in your guidebook, it actually has how to do this, so you don't have to like try to remember this on the fly. But that's the quick, how do I get to a somewhat ballpark-ish inflation-adjusted number as it relates to retirement? By the way, this is not easy stuff, right? Like, this is retirement income planning is probably the primary thing that we talk about with clients every single solitary day. So if you're looking at this and you say, well, my number is gigantic, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't even know if I calculated this the right way. Schedule a call with Anna or with me. You can find a link at the back of the guidebook, and we will work through these with you. So we will, in that call, we will actually put in your numbers, do the calculation with you, and help you figure out whether or not you're on track. And if you're not, what you can do about it. Okay, so we know that we get this big number. I want to talk about this 4% thing, because if we use 4% as a rule, air quotes, that just assumes a uniform growth rate, right? I know it's kind of based on some hypothetical things that have happened in the past, but look, if the market goes down a whole bunch of years in a row and you're still taking out 4% of your portfolio, you're going to run into some troubles, right?
Well, and if the market goes down right after you retire, then that's when it's going to hurt you the most. If the market goes down and you're 90 years old and your portfolio is already at like $10 million, it's grown so much.
Yeah.
You're fine. At that point, like, I don't know how much time left to live. Like you're going to be okay. But if you're 55 years old and you've retired and the market goes down 30% and stays down for a year or two, that's really going to hurt your portfolio a lot more than if that timing happens 20 years after you retire.
The technical term for this that you'll hear people say is sequence of returns risk. We just call it getting unlucky because you just don't know, right? I mean, there are plenty of people who retired January 1st of 2008, didn't know that the market was going to go down, one of the biggest recessions of all time. So that's just kind of getting unlucky. So how can you think about this, Anna, from a behavioral standpoint before you get yourself in trouble?
So one way you can think about it is because we also don't want you entering into retirement and then monitoring your portfolio every single day. Like if you were to do that right now, it's going up and down constantly. And that's not a way to enjoy your retirement. And so what you could do is you could create a floor. If the number is I need to have $2 million by the time I retire, we calculated the inflation, we calculated the 4% rule, all of that, it's $2 million. What is that minimum number that we would take action if we see it get to that point? So if we see your portfolio get to 1.5, especially in those first 10 years of retirement, like, are we doing something to change spending? Are we doing something to change income source? Anything like that? That way, you're not just monitoring all of your accounts every single day. Oh no, the market's down 1-2%. You guys are fine. That's going to happen. We still need to take withdrawals from there.
Yeah, I like having a floor here because it gives you something to focus on. It tells you when it's time to take action. And look, you can't make that floor too low. It can't be too high either. So we need to kind of stress test this a little bit. But I think it's important to have this kind of line drawn in the sand of saying, this is the space at which I will reevaluate my decisions. If you're retiring early, that may mean changing your retirement income. It may mean I got to go get a part-time job. It may mean I'm going to claim Social Security a little earlier than I planned because I'm going to kick on that stream of income so that the portfolio has a chance to kind of recover itself, basically. The other thing that we do is we make sure you've got 2 years worth of cash and withdrawals for that inevitable, market downturn. If you think this is something that is a little bit more complicated than just like writing it on a 2-page piece of paper, you're right. And the thing about financial planning or retirement planning in particular, income planning, is all of this stuff is dynamic. What works for your neighbor is not going to work for you necessarily. And what works this year may not be the same thing as next year. Because this year you may have a roof repair that you didn't plan on. And you had that one-time gift to church and you did the safari. And you were like, well, I wasn't planning on doing all those things together, but it just lined up. And now I got to make some changes in the future to kind of account for the fact that this sequence, to borrow the phrase, didn't exactly go in the manner in which I speak. So that's kind of the big thing. Okay. I guess maybe a little longer than 7 minutes. So today, big worksheet to work through, thinking tools to work through. If you don't have the guidebook, stackingbenjamins.com/basics guide. It's free. We'll send you the season 1 and season 2 if you haven't had it yet. If you got season 1, you should have already gotten season 2. But if you didn't, just let us know and we'll send it to you. Next week, we're going to talk about insurance, or Doug loves it when I put the accent on the first part of that. Insurance. Do you say how do you say it?
Insurance.
You got insurance. Okay. Because you're on the
How
East
does
Coast.
Doug say it?
Oh, he's an East Coaster. He's insurance.
Insurance.
Joe and I say insurance. So a little different there, but not the boring stuff. We're going to make Anna tell us exactly why a whole life policy makes the most sense for everybody in America.
Yeah, get
Stay
your
tuned.
wallets out, everyone.
Get your wallets out. I love it. All right, we're kidding about that. But anyways, Joe, sorry for running a little long, bud. Back to you.
This is Daryl from Pennsylvania. When I'm not busy arguing with a 4-year-old, I'm stacking Benjamins.
No, Daddy.
Nice job again, OG. You got us all excited about season 2, man.
I've heard they're in pre-production talks with ABC. They might get picked up, right, to go national.
That is the rumor. We'll see.
You could get a bidding war started. Get Amazon, Netflix, everybody going for it.
It's already happening.
Let's do part 2 of our headline. We learned earlier Americans fearing running out of money more than they fear death, which explains why nobody wants to open their 401k. They're sure they're going to die. I don't want to go to that website. But as I teased before Doug's amazing trivia, by the way, are you a Festivus for the rest of us kind of guy, Len?
I love Festivus. I'm just more disturbed that that's even a trivia question. That makes me feel old. I mean, you're asking, that's a trivia question? Doesn't everybody know that? And I'm thinking, wow, that was a long time ago, actually.
I know, isn't that sad? That's the part that's really sad.
I mean, that's how you know you're getting old. It's like, how's that even a trivia question?
Like, duh. And seriously, if you haven't seen it, it is so good. This whole fear, OG, and we're going to dive into this more on Wednesday, specifically about annuities. But this fear, OG, is why you're hearing more about guaranteed income, annuities, pensions for sale, all of these things going on. Like the financial industry, I think, is really feeding on surveys like this one.
Yeah, I mean, and your job as a consumer is to kind of look through that and recognize that, again, advertising job is to sell advertising, or I'm sorry, media's job is to sell advertising. The advertiser's job is to get eyeballs and to get you to stay. I'm a big proponent of using AI tools. We've talked a little bit about it here on the show, but even that is starting to like turn a little clickbaity. And I don't know if that's the right phraseology, but if you've noticed, if you use any of these tools, Claude or Chat or something like that, it will always leave you with another question at the end. It never solves the problem. It goes, if you want, I can show you the top 3 things that most people miss when they evaluate this. And you're like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's like the doom scrolling on YouTube or Instagram or whatever. It's like it's meant to keep you on that platform so that it becomes part of your daily rhythm.
We're going to have advertising down both sides of Claude in the future.
Well, I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's a paid advertising system eventually where it's like, if you want to be featured as the solution to this problem, it's like Google, where you pay Google to be an ad, or Facebook or something.
Wow. Because if they do that, OG, that just makes it even less transparent. At least with Google, I can see the link and whether I want to click it or not and where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But if I'm paying Claude on the free platform for solutions and Claude's getting money on the back end for product placement, but I can see it happening. Len, you see that? You see that coming?
It's all about the Benjamins.
Somebody's got to keep stacking them. I don't know the original question, Joe, but I'm sure I answered it.
Yes, succinctly and very, very, very well. But in the face of uncertainty, Len, the uncertainty of I'm trying to create income streams, the uncertainty of daily living, when you hear guaranteed income products, which is what we hear increasingly, right? Do you lean in or do you run away?
No, I stay away from that. My guaranteed income is basically all based on my planning ahead of time for pulling money as I need it with no worries in my retirement. And that's all due to the planning I did earlier. I don't these annuities or anything like that. It's like I stay away from those things. They scare the crap out of me. I feel like I'm being courted by a car salesman every time somebody's trying to sell those things.
Like you're asking, what's the catch?
Yeah, exactly. And there is a catch somewhere. Somewhere in there is a catch. And it's like, I don't even want to take the time to figure it out. I just know it's not for me. And no, I'm not going to depend on that as my panacea. Ooh, how's that? Is that a good word there?
Wow.
Does that qualify?
What are we
Panacea?
doing today?
But yeah, so no, I don't want to do that. Can I bring up one thing real quick too, that we were talking about, people being fearful of their accounts and the doomsday stuff. And it's like, if you noticed in that article that you referenced, Joe, it mentioned, and this is a shocker to me, it said every time the market goes down, half of the people surveyed said they immediately went to their account to see what the balance was at. I don't know if you saw that or not. It's like, no wonder people are scared. I mean, why would you do that? It's like, you want to scare yourself into getting out of your 401k and stop your dollar cost averaging. Do that. Yeah, do that. Every time you hear the market goes down, that you're going to go check your balance in your account. Well, of course it went down. The thing you got to do is don't check your balance. If you really want some peace of mind, I know this is counterintuitive, but if you're dollar cost averaging in a 401k, you're not a day trader, right? You're buying in your 401k, the different accounts that they might have, the different options, and you're indexing. It's like, don't worry about it. Just keep doing what you're doing, knowing that your plan is correct. It is correct. And don't look. Maybe look once every 6 months or once every year, but otherwise you're going to spook yourself into doing bad things. So don't look. Every time the market goes down, that's the worst thing you could possibly do. Absolutely. Don't.
No wonder, OG, we compare it to dying.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is looking backward seems like a much better use of evaluation than trying to forecast forward. When you look at your investment accounts, especially if you're adding to them, and for the vast majority of people, for the vast majority of their life, the additions and dividends that post and that sort of stuff is going to make up a bunch of their contributions, right? Or like the net change, I should say, between year to year. If you just steeled yourself to say, I'm going to look at my portfolio every 6 months or every, once a year, you'll start seeing radical changes, but they'll generally all be positive. Be like, wow, the last number I remember was 105,000. Geez, I got like 190 in here.
Well, and I like something else you're saying, OG, which is focusing on the cash flow, right? Especially for a retiree, focusing on my cash flow, because that's what I'm really concerned about is the cash flow. And then look at the statement of the big number maybe once a year.
Yeah.
I was just going to jump in and say, it's all about attitude. Most people, when it comes to stocks, I don't know why it is, people are happy to buy high and sell low. So when you're dollar cost averaging, remember, if the stock market is up, obviously you're buying stocks at a higher price. Look at it this way. If the stock market does fall, don't think about your balance. What you need to be thinking about is, oh, good. The next round of tranche of stocks or whatever contributions I'm making to my 401k, I'm getting more bang for my buck because I'm buying at a lower price. I'm getting more shares of whatever I'm buying. Look at it that way. Don't freak yourself out. It's actually a good thing over the long term. The key is you've got a dollar cost average.
Amen, Len. And if you're worried about your balance, just start going to yoga classes because that'll really help. Here is the truth. Doug loved that one. I love whenever I get the head shake from Doug, hashtag winning. Fantastic. I think here's the truth. Running out of money, not a math problem. It's much more of a planning problem. I think, OG, the way you attack that is fantastic. And Len, also living between your means, developing these systems. Absolutely amazing. We can make retirement so much better. I was so surprised. The people are happier to die. We can do better, stackers. We can do better. That's going to do it for this discussion. Doug, as we wander out on the back porch, the thing we need to do here is debate. Well, we had a couple stackers that wanted to enter the debate, Doug, of what we call OG and Anna's new segment, because we got to get a name here soon. We're in season 2, OG, and we don't have a name yet.
It's okay. We'll think of something soon.
I don't really feel like he's that committed to coming up with a name. I don't think he cares.
Yeah, we're going to have to, though. So you and I, Doug, will be committed. So listen to this. Len, we're trying to come up with a name for these financial basics. Doug, do you have a favorite so far?
Yeah, it was like boot camp, I think, was one I liked.
Me too. I really like the financial boot camp.
Yeah, okay, we got it.
Not happening.
That sounds kind of scary.
Oh.
I think you want something more inviting. Like,
well, thanks.
Sounds like you're going to get a beating in your financial boot camp.
Thrashed on the quarter.
You disgust me.
We don't want that. It wasn't boot camp. It was like called basic training, wasn't it, Doug?
Well, that was another one, basic training. I like that too.
Kinder, gentler there. Yeah. We got some letters on this.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter. We just got a letter. Wonder who it's from.
Our first letter came from Robert. I want to send along a name suggestion for the new segment with Ann and OG. In keeping with the basement and back porch universe and the more intentional curriculum style of information in the segment, I think a name like The Study or The Den, because now we've got the basement, we've got the back porch, right? So the study or the den would fit well into the Stacking Benjamin's house. The study is, of course, where the Commodore 64, the World Book Encyclopedia set, the electric pencil sharpener, and the 10-inch wide plug-in printer tape calculator reside. I think Robert's older than I am with some of those. It's just a nice, quiet place to work. By the way, have you ever been in a room with a Commodore 64, Robert? That thing wasn't quiet. That thing was louder than one of those.
That's the best one I've heard so far.
The study?
It's just a nice, quiet place to work on a spreadsheet or learn something new. Additionally, going upstairs to the study offers opportunity for the footstep sounds effect, which is a favorite transition to set apart the segment. So maybe Steve would like
my
that.
first thought was when your dad would call you into the study, son, we're going to have a talk.
Oh boy. George from Texas also reached out to us and said, I'm thinking Doug, you're going to like this one. Len, you'll like this one too, because it's not us. The Financial Dwarves with Happy and Grumpy. And we know which one's which.
No.
Who knew that he would say no? Yeah. And then George, I think,
he said grumpy. He could have picked a lot worse dwarves there. So you should be thankful of that one.
Yes. And then I think it takes
he's sleepy. So wrap it up.
Takes a little swipe at me with the Financial Dwarves with Happy and Grumpy, occasionally Dopey, which I finally, George got out of that boot with my foot trying to run that Dopey. So not great. That's going to do it for today. Len, thanks so much for hanging out with us again, man.
You know what? I appreciate it. It gives a old retired guy something to do on his, I can only yell at so many kids, get off my lawn.
And it can't be all train set all the time.
No, it cannot be.
Are people driving faster down your street too, Len?
My street is about 50 feet long, so you can't, there ain't much time to get a lot of speed up on that little cul-de-sac.
Well, maybe are the trains going faster behind your house?
I'll tell you what, my train, I'm about ready to lay the golden spike on my model railroad. So pretty soon the train will be able to go all the way around the room. I'm almost there within another 2 weeks.
Golden spike.
I really hope you have a golden spike scene.
Maybe I'll send a picture to the basement.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Interestingly, when we were in Utah last year, we did a rafting trip. I don't know if it's also the same spot as the golden spike. I feel like that was in California or something, wasn't it?
No, it was Promontory Point in Utah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So then I am thinking about this in the right place then. So they now have a tree to signify the halfway spot, and it's like all fenced off and everything. Like this is the halfway spot on this railroad. Obviously, the golden spike is no longer there.
Yeah, the trains have trouble going around the tree.
Plant the tree in the middle of the track. That's pretty funny.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of the highlight of the trip. The kids were like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's
it's like, look, kids, a tree. Fun fact.
Isn't that great?
Couldn't you have taken that place where they buried the Cadillacs in the ground or something like that? That would have been more interesting.
In Amarillo? Yeah.
It's in Amarillo. It's not.
And then you could have had a 72-ounce, you tried to eat that 72-ounce steak for free.
And they're done that.
All the
Did not get that t-shirt.
Did you try it?
Did you go up on stage?
No, God, no.
I did not
Did
either.
you try to eat it?
No. It's fun to watch. Like there was a guy that went up there just like, I just want to eat the steak. He's like up there with his girlfriend. It was like a date.
Fun fact, the person who's eating there, let's say they have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the hour, they get escorted into the bathroom to make sure they're not doing any,
Oh, gross.
getting rid of stuff.
Spitting out their food?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is true.
There's not really anybody who's successful with that. It requires a pretty profound amount of food. Not only do you have to eat the steak, which is in and of itself fine, but then you also have to eat a full baked potato loaded, an entire salad, which is like a bowl like that big,
huge,
and a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
It's outrageous. Yeah, there's a lot.
All for a t-shirt.
Well, free food.
You get your name on the Wall of Fame, too.
And it's free.
When my son Nick and I were driving his car to Seattle, we stopped in Amarillo, and you're right, OG. They call that the Cadillac Ranch, where the Cadillacs all spray painted in the field. It was fantastic, and it was about 8 minutes. Like after you see it, you see it.
How about that?
Check that off.
It's kind of like the Grand Canyon. Same thing.
Yeah, that's right. Griswold, the Grand Canyon.
Okay, kids, let's go.
Look, kids, Big Ben Parliament.
But then we went and sat in the back, OG, I think like you did over at the Big Texan, which was super fun watching this guy get on stage. They do a big deal of announcing him and who he is and where he's from. And he sits down and we watch him fail epically. Like just didn't even come close.
So much food.
It's too much.
The champion, the woman that's done it fast enough, the person that's done fast enough is a woman. And I think she's got like first and second place on cleaning that up quickest. Like I don't remember what her time was.
I
but
think
it was
the oldest person is also a woman. The oldest person to do it is a woman.
Wow.
I bet her time is on her headstone in the graveyard.
After her fourth triple bypass.
Right.
Right. Yeah. All right. That's going to do it, Stackers. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Len, people can find you at lenpenzo.com, but you've got a book where people can get all of your madcap musings in one efficient place.
Yeah, who needs the blog anymore? It's all in the book. Just go to the book, True Money Stories at Amazon.
It's so good. It's so good. We'll link to it in the show notes, Stackers, or you know where to find Len. lenpenzo.com. Fantastic, with his black coffee every week and the musings from you and the entire gang, which is always a good time. All right. Speaking of a good time, Doug, it's always a good time figuring out what Doug listed as the top 3 things we should have got out of today's episode.
Well, Joe, first, take some advice from Len, OG, and you. Retirement planning is one foot in front of the other. Set up savings, automate, and start planning how you're going to increase your saving if you're behind. You can't make up for lost time, but you can get started today. Second, and if you're worried about what to invest in, stop. Don't do that. When you first start out, buy the total stock market or S&P 500 and you're diversified enough. Worry about getting fancy later on. But the big lesson, speaking of fancy, Joe's mom's Christmas in July tree now has cactus and beach umbrella ornaments. Come on over and celebrate with us this July. I repeat, do not forget to bring the gin and tonic because mom gets a little itchy and scratchy if you don't. Special thanks to Len Penzo for joining us. You'll find Len's blog and book links at his website, lenpenzo.com.
Or thepersistenitch.com. The longest running joke in basement history.
I forgot about that.
This show is the property of SB Podcast, LLC, copyright 2026, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. And oh yeah, before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.